Labas vakaras. Good evening. We are celebrating the 103rd anniversary of Lithuania's independence. But it is also the 100-year anniversary of our classic author Zemaite's death, 1921. As Zemaite's great-granddaughter, it is my honor and privilege to read from Marriage for Love, translated into English by Professor Kellertus and myself. I've chosen passages from Zemaite's short story, the famous one, Marte, describing the second day of Kotra's wedding, the daughter-in-law's wedding. The few weeks before Kotra's marriage rolled by like a heavy creaking wheel as she made plans for the wedding and worked on the farm. After the wedding, she returned with her husband to his parents' house. The dowry wagon tried to make haste, but it lagged behind because it was so laden down that the lathered horses could barely drag it along. There were 2 wardrobes and 2 chests, as if stuffed with rocks, and there was no end to the bundles, bedding, and clothes. The wedding guests hauled them out of the sagging wagon and dragged everything into the leaning granary with its broken-down doors. In the yard, the guests splashed and waded through mud up to their knees. Kotra shivered with horror at the sight, but a part of her was already casting an eye on the yard, cleaning out the manure, pouring gravel and pebbles on the paths. It would be almost like home, except that the fences were hopelessly broken down. The husband led Kotra inside. The parents, as well as the wedding guests and musicians, hurried into the entry to greet the daughter-in-law. Kotra fell at the parents' feet, kissed their hands, then gave each one of them a long and very delicately woven piece of linen. The mother invited the bride and groom to the table, set out food and drink for them, and urged them to partake. Looking at them, she rejoiced and voiced her amazement. Who would have thought that sweet Kotra would end up as my daughter-in-law? When my eunuchus was going to be baptized, she was big enough to open the gate. Why, she was a grown little shepherdess even back then. What are you going to do? This must be God's will. You gave us a lot of gifts. Thanks for that. The linen is so fine, it looks like it's woven by a real weaver. I can tell. Kotra swallowed her first mouthful of refreshments, which were mixed with a dose of bitter peppers, her new mother's, stinging words.